Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is King. If you are new here, 안녕하세요. What did they say? 환영하십니다. 환영하세요. 환영하십니다. 환영. You know what? Forget. Welcome English. Welcome to my channel. If you are not new here, thank you for checking me out again. Today's video is going to be somewhat of a just like a chat, you know, because in this YouTube space that we are all existing in, sometimes, as a creator, I can notice some things I feel, going on in the community that is kind of off, and I can make my own observations and my own takeaways from what is going on. That being said, I want everybody to cool off on the wizard list. Can I say that? Like, I'm laughing the fake laugh now because I feel tense. I'm going to find a delicate way to say this. I don't particularly follow with the wizard list. I saw her. I think I've seen her video only once, and I watched like a few seconds of it. I was like, ugh, that's not my content. That's not my thing. But recently, I saw this thing on Instagram. The caption was, "If this can happen to the wizard list, then I don't want to use this collective pronoun. None of us are safe." That's kind of. I've never liked that kind of rhetoric, especially during Lemonade era when everybody was like, "Oh my God, if Beyonce can be cheated on, that who is safe?" Obviously, there is a generalization here where they're like, "Oh, men are cheating scums," and a lot of men fall under that label of being cheating scums very well. But at some point, it begins to look as if the cheating of the man, is the failure of the woman. So that was not on Beyonce, yeah. Obviously, that was not Beyonce. Beyonce was just like, oh my God, if it happened to Beyonce, it happened to everybody. Nobody's safe, and it was just kind of doomsday like kind of nonsense, because there are a lot of cishet women or people that date men, So I'm back to Wizard List now. So after I saw that thing, I was inundated with. I was curious at first. I was like, "What does this mean?" Why it struck out to me was because I think early this year or last year, I don't know when, because I'm not keeping up with her intentionally yet. So I saw where people were like celebrating how somebody made a whole heartwarming post about how the wizard did manifested the man of her dreams. She spoke it and she gave herself what she wanted, and he's this and he's that, and there were so many sweet words attributed to this man. So when I saw the wizard list, what happens wizard list, my mind was like immediately like it does. That's what my brain does. Like very different things I observe in pocket of time that I cannot even remember or place anymore suddenly get connected to something that happens later in the future or happened in the past. Like that's just how my brain works. I like everybody. I'm sure a lot of people have that kind of wave pattern of thinking or whatever. So when I saw like like don't tell me that. I saw it on TikTok. Immediately I removed it from my page. I was like, not interested, please. I'm not interested in seeing reiterations of the same. If it happened to her, if it happened to her, those kind of nonsense. And they would put this on clips of her being all lovey-dovey with this man. You get my point for making this video was like last night after I watched, I don't know the number of the number of videos that I opened or the number of videos that I've seen on this topic about the wizard list. It's just like I just felt like, okay, I think we are treading on some fine line here of sexism. We need to dial it back. Okay. First of all, this is something that happened to her. It's a pain, it's hurtful, it's traumatizing even, especially since she's somebody that doesn't hide anything. She puts it out to her audience to show them that it is possible or attainable to live the life that she lives, to have the love that she enjoys. And there is a flaw to that system of preaching to your audiences, that kind of thing, yeah. But where I'm going with it is like, now that the guy has cheated on her and she immediately broke up the engagement, and she has to take care of her pregnancy is going on and all of that. It's like there is this air of the commentary around what happened. It seemed as if like people were waiting for her to, you know, how do you say it? Not to be gross or vulgar, but to shit in public. Like to since she's always like public about something that is very delicate as man. Delicate not as men are delicate, but like delicate as in a man is a human being that can mess up and fall your hand anytime you get. But she was like boldly professing her views about men, her views about how you should handle men, you get. And then she had the results to show for it. You understand? Now that this has happened to her, it's like, oh, your theories are wrong. You get, your ideas and your experiments so far that you've done in, even though you've lived such a short time. I don't think she's up to 26, or how old is she? um your theories are flawed. You see, you made a mistake. And it's like, in this moment where she's coping with the hurt, because she didn't come out to say, I when she came, the statement I saw from about that she made was like, I'm not somebody that is not going to practice what I preach. So if a man cheats on me, I'm cutting him off immediately. You get, I'm not going to hide his flaws, or I'm not going to hide him to protect my reputation. I would call it what I see, and I would cut such behavior off from my life. That feels like the commentary around her is kind of now like using her very flawed way of thinking as an excuse to like dunk on her failure, and the failure being a man that she trusted with her heart cheated on her. And instead of us to face the fact that the man that cheated is the loser here, he's the one that should feel ashamed of himself for not being able to be consistent in his character as a human being. Basically, first of all, like basic respect here to somebody that you are in a romantic relationship with. We are now, it seems as if the dunking is not like, I don't know, there's a practice here. I don't know if they still do it in this country, but there's a practice where when a woman's husband dies, her in-laws treat her like she's the one at fault for that. And in fact, the worst thing that can happen to you in this country, in some tribes, is that if you're is like, let your husband die. And it's not like losing your husband as the emotional trauma and the grief of it all, is the backlash that will follow, like as if you are the one to blame. At some point it was like the woman has to prove that she's not the one that killed the man. You get, like spiritually she's not a witch, or it's real, it happens in this country. Some tribes still perpetrate such acts, although it's not blasted on social media. Yeah, so I don't know, it kind of feels this way, that the way the commentary surrounding this is as if, like when you see the thumbnails, a lot of them set up thumbnails as if they have these thumbnails, and her name is splashed all over their channel, and it's like they have these thumbnails, and it's as if you are going into a video where this person is going to actually shit on this woman in a time of sorrow because she has some flawed philosophies around relationship and life in general. Yeah, I don't know, it's just too much. It's too much. We need to stop. It's okay. Like, I think she gets it. If she doesn't get it, it's not in this moment where she's going through serious heartbreak in public eye with a baby on the way that we should start to teach her. And the thing is that even before this thing happened to her, I don't think there were a lot of videos that were calling out her manifestation system to her, that the manifestation system she preached to her audience of impressionable, mostly, I'm sure there are a lot of girls in her audience. There was not much calling it out, because apparently she was succeeding at it. It seemed like she was succeeding at it. And now that she has failed at it, because that's what it looks like, as if she has failed. Meanwhile, this is a relationship. This is not something that should be considered as a failure. If a relationship does not work out, it's not a failure on you. It's just, okay, you people don't match, you should look elsewhere, or something else. You can look forward to another love, or you can heal from this. I don't know why like when relationships don't work out, we label it as a failure on ourselves and of the other person too. Some relationships don't end because somebody cheated, some relationships don't end because of mutual differences, but it's not any less heartbreaking. But back to Liz, it's as if the commentary around her is now like, okay, remember that time that you were preaching that you don't need a man, and you said that your first boyfriend, when you were 19, you dated a man, and it was because he gave you money, and so you later fell in love with him because he was giving you money. Can you see now that those things that you thought were normal is actually wrong? Like, why didn't you call it out then? Why didn't you call it out then? And you are bringing it up now to kind of call her out on the inconsistency of her beliefs. And it's like, sure, her beliefs are inconsistent and her beliefs are flawed, and this is the internet. There are impressionable kids who always get on here. Even if they're not kids, impressionable people, lonely people, will get on here and latch on to whatever they see, in front of them. And I'm not saying that there should be no responsibility towards your audience. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, not like using this thing that happened to her as an excuse to call out all those flaws. It feels kind of victim blaming in this sense. Like, I don't know how else. It just feels very victim blaming. I feel like it's not nice. Like, it's just like you have a friend that comes to you and says our relationship did not work out, and although you've been very, the guy she was with is very sketchy, has always been sketchy, but you refuse to say anything because you just want them, you just want the best for them. They feel that's the best that they deserve, then fine, you leave them alone, you respect their decisions. But now that they come to you as a friend and they're crying and they're hurting, like, I don't think it's in that moment that they're crying and hurting that you should start to tell them, so let me now tell you about how the very first day you met this guy, he did something that was very sketchy. Let me tell you about how the beliefs you have about relationship have always been flawed, and I know bringing up the relationship analogy of two friends, is kind of calling on that parasocial thing, but she puts her relationship in the public eye, and we are making commentary on it, as if, and most of the commentary I've seen around it, they're always like, I don't mean to dunk on Liz, I don't mean to, blame her or something. They say like they're not dunking on her. They kind of give a disclaimer that it's not to dunk on her, but it's just to call out how flawed, her thinking has always been, and how she's too young to be bestowing knowledge and wisdom for the ages around the whole concept of womanhood and relationships and men in general. I just feel like we need to dial it back, like commentary channels. And the main evil here actually is not the commentary, and it's not even Liz, it's not the situation, it is YouTube. As always, YouTube is at fault here, because YouTube rewards content like that. YouTube rewards commentary channels because it, like, YouTube rewards commentary channels that fuels unnecessary drama, that fuels picking at, so like YouTube, the algorithm rewards a kind of vulture like system of making videos here, unless you have a very strong sense of self and identity, and again you have a solid audience base, which maybe you won't be able to relate what I'm saying, but there's this pressure to pick up the most hot, like the hottest topic happening, and talk about it. And you're not just the algorithm doesn't just want you to talk about it in a very logical way. The algorithm wants you to allude to contributing to the fire, of this drama. So you allude to it by your titles, you allude to it through your thumbnails, you allude to it through descriptions and all of that. It's only when people take the time to actually go into the middle of your videos, which I do, which I've done to all of these videos I'm talking about, I'm calling out now. Like, when I get to the middle of those videos, they have this sort of gentler way of speaking about the situation, and they're like, it's not about her, it's just about the system we find ourselves in, and how, probably because Liz, her way is not a guaranteed way like she preaches, and it seems as if those commentary channels want to um sort of advise her and advise her audience, not to generalize the situation and be like, no, it's not because Liz was cheated on, that means you are cheated on. Because at the end of the day, it's not about your beauty. Relationships are not, love is not hinging on your physical beauty. Like, the reality of love is that no matter how beautiful you are, that you are deserving of love. Likewise, no matter unconventional you look, let's use the word ugly, you think you look, you are still deserving of love, you get. But channels like Liz borderline push the former as the truth, that, oh, when you look a certain way, when you approach men a certain way, that is when they will stay. That's when, yeah, it's flawed. That kind of thinking is flawed, but it's the only reality that she knows. It's the only reality that has made sense to her. Nobody knows. Like, no matter how much she tells you her backstory, you don't really know the reality of what she was going to day when she was in that relationship with her first boyfriend or whatever. You don't know how she had to make sense of the world she was living in. And when she made sense of the world she was living in, it began to work for her. But that is her world. And when she preaches on YouTube, it is about people choosing to buy into that reality, even though their reality could be very much parallel from hers, you get. But they buy into it because it gives them hope. So in a sense, she's kind of selling, like, she was kind of selling hope, but I don't think she was very much aware of what she was doing. I think it was just the reality that she knew, and she was preaching it at the best. She was being honest the best way she knew how, you get. And there's a lot of flaws to that system. But back to what I was saying, that YouTube is the kind of place where you are rewarded. The algorithm lords push your content to the top when you pretend as if you are here to dunk on somebody that is already going through hell, or somebody that is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. You get, she's in the spotlight because her dump of a boyfriend or fiance cheated on her. That's not the point of view. My own point is, like, she's in the spotlight for that type of, nobody wants their hurts and vulnerabilities to just be splashed everywhere. And then when commentary channels try to be like, okay, this is the moment to now teach her 8 million subscribers audience that you people should turn away from this woman and now listen to reason, you are not reaching those people like that. You are not going to reach them like that. So if you know, and I'm sure you're aware of it too, that you cannot reach these people like that, why make videos after videos after videos talking about this situation and using her as clickbait? There's no particular channel that I think it's because of that channel. Channel is so funny. Like, there is small channel, and I think they recently got over into monetization due to this whole incident, because a lot of, like, people rush to review their opinion. And there's also this thing, like, this, what they call this wire that triggers a grenade or a mine or something. That wire thing, you get, like a minefield kind of. Okay, there's this minefield of when something like this happens, and it's very clear to know who is at fault, or the parties that are flawed in this system, in the very delicate balance of not coming off as sexist and dunking on the woman in the situation. And it's like, okay, are you saying we should not call out Liz because she's a woman? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that dial it down. Once one person has talked about it, or two people have talked about it, I don't think you need to bring it up anymore. TikTok has already regurgitated all of this story over, and it's so annoying, because when you open most of this commentary about her, it's just TikToks after TikToks of people making putting stupid evidences, or the timeline, or the stupid story timeline of how it happened, like, or the chart, or what the guy said. Like, who the fuck is the man? Who fucking cares about the guy? He's irrelevant here. And this commentary to bring up this TikTok video and that TikTok videos and this screenshot and this guy is, like, so stupid. Like, what are you doing, man? You've been hypnotized. You're falling for YouTube's ploy once more. You falling prey to YouTube's demand for this section of your soul. And I'm not saying soul now to go Illuminati or this. No, I'm just using soul as part, just human empathy. Like, YouTube has played you once more. You've gotten views, you've gotten subscribers at the cost of what? Somebody else's failure, somebody else's fuck up, somebody, and it's not even her fuck up. Somebody's not even a failure. It just happened. What if she got married and she got married, everybody was like, ah, boss, she's engaged, like she's happy with her fiance and all of that, and they live happily ever after. You never hear a word from her. She keeps doing her content. Like, something else will replace it. Do you see that it's not important that this thing happened to her? You see that it's not important to reach her audience, because if she never had this sort of failing in public, you cannot pull her audience away from her. You cannot advise them, reorient them, make them see the light. Something else would have caught your attention that you bring to the public, at public's attention again, like you highlight. I don't even know, like I'm just like talking a lot. I just want to say the point of this video is like, the point of this video is that I think we need to stop talking about the wizard Liz and her bomb of an ex-fiance. Like, let's stop talking about it. If you want to call her out, say, oh, our philosophies are warped and they are giving impressionable people, a false understanding of how reality works, fine and good. Please, let's not talk about being cheated on anymore. Let's not bring it up anymore, because every time we start with that, it feels as if you're not trying to say, because of this chink in your armor, I think I can actually invade your space and rubbish everything that you are, because you failed. You made him, like, you messed up picking this guy. So, and the reason why this video is long is because I was trying to find a way to make it not seem as if I want you to stop dogpiling on her just because she's a woman. Like, I don't want it to be as if I'm just being a Wizard Liz, the Wizard Liz supporter. I don't want it to be like that. I just want to be like a siren that is like, okay, oh, break is over, everybody go back to your business, go back to minding your business that pays. Please leave this woman alone. Just let her heal in peace. And even if she comes forth after I make this video addressing it and talking, leave her alone. Don't bring it. Everybody has their own way of dealing with being cheated on, being hurt, being heartbroken. Just leave her alone, please. Let's not bring up the whole, and I'm saying less because I make commentary videos too, so I'm like, let's not bring up the whole boyfriend or fiance dump of a guy anymore. Thank you. Bye bye.